Hello, creative enthusiasts. I'm Aaronica Cole from The Needle and the Bell.
And I'm Julian Collins from Julian Creates.
And welcome to another exciting episode of the Audacity podcast. Ready to embark on a journey where audacity meets creativity and crafting? Well, friends, you found your destination right here.
As your guides, we're thrilled to blend the worlds of sewing, crafting, and life's audacious adventures.
In each episode, we're stirring up a cup of inspiration, laughter, and, of course, candid conversations. From the buzzing topics in the sewing community to the projects we're currently immersed in, we've got your creative cravings covered.
And don't forget our special guest interviews, deep dives into weekly themes, and thought-provoking, audacious questions that will spark your creativity.
So whether you're a seasoned sewist or just exploring your crafting curiosity, this podcast is your cozy haven for all things audacious and crafty.
So grab your favorite project, your beverage of choice, and let's take another sip from the cup of audacious living.
Welcome back. Today we are kicking off with a different type of thread. We did not consult Reddit for today's hot topic. Instead, one of actually a pattern designer that I absolutely love. She is one half of the Muna and Broad team. It's Fat Bobbin Girl, and her name is obviously not Fat Bobbin Girl, but her name is Jess, and she posted on her Instagram feed, excuse me. And when she posted this, and as I read it, you guys, I was like, yes, yes, yes. So if you don't follow her on Instagram, it's fat.bobbin.girl. Definitely give her a follow because she is over here speaking, but nothing but hot fire truth. So this is what her post says. Hands up if you think that the practice of sewing pattern companies not providing customers with all the available sizes when they purchase needs to be finished. Pattern company PSA, when you don't provide all the sizes in one document so that makers can blend between sizes as they need, you are actively disadvantaging your fat customers who are most likely not to fit exactly into your size chart and who are more likely to need to blend between sizes to get your pattern to fit them. You're also likely contributing to a big old chunk of body shame. It's one thing to have our clothes no longer fit when our bodies inevitably change size, but there's no reason for us to no longer be able to use a sewing pattern that we've purchased. It's also got to be way more work to make those files one size at a time, to load them onto your website one size at a time. So you're actually making much more work for yourself to provide a worse product for your customers. In this age of digital PDF patterns, there's no reason it needs to happen like that. You're disadvantaging your fat customers, but also it's pretty classist. So she was specifically talking about how like there are some pattern companies where you literally just put in the one size that you need and that is it. That's it. Now, Julian, I was going to say, I don't know about you, but I do know about you. I don't fit into one size range, and I'm certain that you can't just buy a 34 and be like, yes, this is going to fit me everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely can't buy no 34 period, but yes.
Cut it out, Julian.
Yes. Yeah, I'm just saying.
First of all, y'all, what Julian is not saying is how much weight he's lost, and he's over here looking like a Slim Jim snackety snack, okay? But you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a really sore topic for me for a couple of reasons, right? First of all, as a plus size person, the fact that one, it's taking pattern companies so long to even include most sizing, right? Now, I'm not saying that like companies that are birthed overseas, like in the UK, Australia, etc., get a pass off of this. But I know that in the United States, the average size for a woman, namely, is plus size, right? It's like 14, 16. We're not talking about like the size vanity sizing of 14, 16. We're talking about the actual measurements of a 14 to 16 sized body. And we've already had to fight this fight to get our sizes somewhat included, right? But then, and of course, Jess in this is talking about, again, the companies that will only make it so that you can purchase the size 34, the size 16, the size 4. Listen, Julian, I vary just even between my hips to my waist. I'm in between 3 to 4 sizes. We won't even factor in my bust. So to not even provide a way for us to blend those sizes is absurd. But taking that a step further, one of the biggest things that I absolutely despise is when there is a size, when you have to purchase more than one pattern, right, in order to get multiple sizes. So let's say if my hips fall into a size 18 in their size range and my waist falls into a size 10 or 12, I'm SOL. I'm left making these adjustments. Now, can I make them? I sure can. But if I paid for a pattern, then that means that I should have everything that I need in order to make it for my body, right? And so for me, it's just absurd. It's really just absurd. Now, I don't know if this happens as much in men's patterning. So can you share a little insight on that?
So with men's patterns, of course, usually they are grouped by your chest size. So usually a lot of your men's patterns still do have like suit sizing. And you can vary in sizing. So right now usually I can do like a 44 in pants, but I'm like still a 46 in my like chest measurement.
Okay.
Just due to like my waist size and stuff like that. So I can so it does also vary. And of course, sometimes what you find is that 46, let's just even talk about for big 5. 46 usually is what starts the second range of patterns. So that's usually that BB size. And 44 is at AA. So as of right now, I basically have to buy 2 patterns. To make that work. Now, before I was a 48 usually, and all over. So I was able to kind of usually singularly do that.
Did y'all hear that slight flex? It's fine. Keep going.
Any hoodles. Any hoodles. But what I was also finding is that there were a lot of companies that didn't even go up to that. So like Berta usually doesn't go up to that. Vogue, a lot of times, usually their largest size is a 46.
I literally be dreaming in Carlos's styles.
Look, and it doesn't work. And let's not even talk about there's a lot of indie designers now that have some cute men's patterns, but literally, if you look at their size range, their double XL is usually the largest size they go to, and that only goes up to a 41-inch chest.
Ooh.
I'm like, that's usually a medium.
Yeah, no.
So,
and like I get vanity sizing.
Yeah.
But like vanity size and include.
True. But also I mean, so I see it both ways because I understand for some people seeing the nested patterns, it can be a lot for people, even though I think with PDFs, if you have Adobe Acrobat, you can easily just choose the nest that you want.
Exactly.
But some patterns are not done like that. And sometimes they want to sell by single pattern and they feel that they can make sure that that is graded appropriately and stuff like that. And that's an old school method. But it does make it hard because there are some patterns now that I can't use. And I would basically need to rebuy or grade down. And when it comes down to it, I'm not going to do it. Because
wait, you're not going to do what? You're not going to regrade it or you're not going to rebuy?
I'm not going to regrade it.
You would buy it again?
Or I might not make it again.
Which I feel like is bigger, right? Like I was having this conversation this week because of course, like I'm a pattern designer for Nomi. And yes, of course, I want everyone to purchase my patterns. I'm a pattern designer with Made for Mermaids. Yes, I want everyone to buy my patterns. And I was talking to my girlfriend about this. And we were talking about because I was telling her, I was like, oh, well, I will send you the files to my pattern if you want it. And she's like, no, I want to go out and I want to purchase it and support. And I was like, I appreciate you wanting to do that. But you know what the best support is and the best marketing is? When people buy that pattern and make it, right? Because that just generates so much more income for us, especially for people who are like, oh, I love supporting you. I want to see you win. I want money in your pocket, et cetera, et cetera. The best thing in the world are like the things like that Carmen from Black Sewing Network does, which is by putting our patterns on a platform and making them desirable for more people to want to purchase. For them to just be releasing either one pattern size, like what? You don't want money. You don't want money. And here's the thing, like I get, because while I don't hand draft my patterns for Nomi, I draft and grade every single size for my Made for Mermaids patterns. In fact, I was literally just talking to Megan about this today, and Megan Gorman is who owns Made for Mermaids. Also, shout out to Megan, because when I tell you that like working with her and designing with her is one of literally the best things in the world, because I was slightly freaking out about my pattern that is in testing today. And she was like, girl, don't worry about it. Like, she's like over here, kiki laughing while I'm over here, like stressing out and having an anxiety attack. And she's like, it's nothing. It's fine. Like, don't worry. We'll clean it up. And I'm like, oh my God, you're probably like, I never should have hired her because she's the worst. And she's like, that is not at all what I think. But, I was talking to her about how I had drafted the kids version, and how like the kids version of this pattern, like literally took me Friday and Saturday in order to get it up on Sunday. And it's because I was hand grading every single size. And then all I did was simply nest them on one artboard in Illustrator, and boom. Now, if I send you the file, if I send my husband the file, if I send Joe Schmo the file, they now have access to all of the sizes that they need. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I get the hand grading, I get it being old school, but at the end of the day, like if you are missing out on customers, I just feel like that is just like what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, do we have technology or not?
Well, I think what we forget, and we need to get to a place of, I think, and this is why I go back to vintage sewing, and I love vintage sewing because there were other techniques and tools that we learned. We went into vintage sewing that we do not have anymore. So understanding how to alter a pattern and everything like that just came second knowledge to you.
Yeah.
And when you had that, yes, you had a size. Yes, that was a guideline. And I think people need to realize and understand that patterns are created to be guides.
Right.
Once it's in your hand, you are the designer now. We just gave you the mold to help build something off of. I love when I see when people are hacking my pattern. You have the guide that I helped create. Beyond that, you the designer now. It could be a woman's pattern. It could be a kid's pattern. It can be a dress. It could, and I'm talking about my coats. I'm talking about my pants. Split it up the inseam, make it a skirt. I don't care. I just want to see that you are creating and having fun with it, because I think we've lost a sense of creativity even in our sewing because we want it to be exactly what we see. That's not what it needs to be.
Precisely.
So, and even like, and we can go back to this, is that the whole idea of the sizing and the charts, the size charts and stuff like that is based off a body that don't look like nobody that I know.
No one I know.
I mean, if we actually
don't live here anymore or ever.
Right. And I think Lisa Wolford talked about this on her page, like talking about how we got to this place of standard sizing in the 40s. And literally the studies that did this kind of excluded women of color.
Right.
Women and men of color and their body measurements and their shapes. So a lot of times it just doesn't work for us. And I remember, and one of the places that I remember my mother always talking about this growing up is like Liz Claiborne garments and stuff like that, not fitting her, like not fitting
Liz Claiborne. Damn, you took it back.
Look, but like literally there are so many things that are just not made for us. And we have been working to fit ourselves into it, and to not give us all sizing makes it harder for people to see themselves as a customer of yours, and that they are seen as visible to you. Yeah. And when I'm not visible to you, I don't give my money to people I'm invisible to.
So yes to all this. It's funny because I don't know if you remember when there was like the big push for plus size inclusivity. And like the people were all up in arms, and they were like, Aaronica, what do you think? And I was like, I think I'm just not going to spend my money there. Like, I'm not going to be out here. I'm not going to actively be like, please include my size, right? Because either you want the money or you don't. That's at the end. That's the bottom line. Either you want it or you don't. Like, how bad do you want to be in your patterns? I remember there was a point in time, like earlier on, and this had to have been maybe 4 years ago, because I was living at the last house that we rented. And I remember I was working with a pattern designer, and I was not included. And I was like, oh, it's okay. I can just grade it. I can just like figure it out myself. Julian, that was the last time that I did that. Why? Because here's my thing. And we aren't even talking about, like, not even the humanity part of it. We're not talking about that. We won't even address that, right? Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. And we know that's what a lot of these designers are thinking to themselves. Is it going to bring in more money or is it not? Right? Because here's the thing, if humanity was the question, if you truly cared about fellow humans, the first thing on your mind would be, let me make sure that I have made this product so that the maximum amount of humans can possibly use this, right? But because humanity is not at the top of the pyramid when we're thinking about business, we're thinking about dollars and cents, right? Technically, you're plus size, I'm plus size, right? They're missing out on this money. They're missing out on the fundulations of most of the population.
The fundulations of the population. Look.
Listen, that's it. You're missing out on the fundulations of the population. And while as a business owner and as a business coach, I am like, yes, I want to see everyone win, but I'm not about to be bending over backwards after I've already spent money to go ahead and redraft this pattern so that it includes my size. Nah, I'm gonna just design some shit for myself and then I'm going to sell it and get those coins.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
But
for me, what it comes down to is, again, a humanity issue. Like, these businesses, they don't care, right? Like, there was just recently a drop there was a new drop of a pattern for a new skirt pattern that both my daughter and I absolutely love. And then I went to go and see how about purchasing it. I would have to buy 2 sets of patterns in order to be able to make both my daughter and I skirts. Why is that fair? Why is that fair? Just like there was recently an update, finally, to a pattern that was not previously size inclusive. I've accidentally bought this pattern twice. Neither time they included my size, but I was like, oh, maybe I can grade it up. Again, spoiler alert, I never did, because what? Why are we doing that?
We're not doing it.
Do you think that they resent me my shit?
Of course not.
They
want you to rebuy it.
They did not. And I'm not. So again, for me, it's like a humanity issue. And if most of these designers were better humans, then top of mind would be, how can I make sure that my business is out here helping and feeding into humanity as opposed to the dollars and cents? But since it's, at the end of the day, they're still going to be missing out, right? Because I know for me, I'm not going to be buying and making it because of who I am now. I'm just going to draft the pattern myself. I'm going to just draft it. It's going to have my own twist on it. It's going to be cute. And you know what else, Julian? Everybody's size who needs it is going to be on one sheet. That's it.
Look, with layers, and they can decide what they want to do with it from there.
And they can decide what they want to do with it from there.
We need to get to a place of democratizing patterns and democratizing the maps, because that's all it is. A pattern is a map. We need to democratize the maps. We need to stop gatekeeping. How people can feel better about themselves in the garments, the armor that they wear in the world on a daily basis, especially people who have different bodies than what is seen as the standard of beauty in the world.
Come on, sir.
Period.
Just point blank, period. That's it. I feel like the mic has been dropped, because what else can we say? You know what I'm saying? I think it's time to think about, I think there is a space in the business world to think about both money and your take home pay, and the people who care about your brand and who want to see you succeed, right? Because in truth, I don't want to redraft this skirt. I really like this pattern designer, but already, like, there are so many patterns that are not in my size that, like, I don't feel like, while I like and respect them, that feeling is mutual, because it's clear that is not a top priority. So.
Absolutely.
Okay, but Julian is going to take us into our next segment while I cool down a little bit, because this is obviously something I'm extremely passionate about.
So, y'all, we just have one of them days. Just one of them days. And we just need to let some things off our chest. So this is about to be some sewing gripes. Now, no, We
Mhm.
love the sewing community. This is our
Love the sewing
community. We understand it. We hell, sometimes we part of the problem. Let's be real.
part of the problem. Hi,
But
it's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
just sometimes we gotta let it off our chest. Okay.
Yes.
And so we're gonna do that today. And the first one is big for me. Okay.
Uh-oh. I'm
So
ready.
we all have our reasons that we sew for.
Mhm.
My reason is because I like constructing. Okay. Sometimes I just need to sew something because it makes me feel good. And sometimes it's not about the end product. Sometimes it's about the journey for me. Which means when I show something or when I show a progress or something, I'm not asking for your opinions on telling me what I need to change. I didn't ask for your explanation. You don't know my body. You don't know what I'm doing. Stop it.
Stop.
Like it becomes very microaggressive when you just providing information when I didn't ask for it. Don't do that.
I didn't ask for that. Thank you.
I really, and I'm like, I didn't ask you for a daggone thing. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, that is I of course have dealt with that a lot as well. Um ooh, it's like one of those things where um it's like, do I turn into the asshole? Like, am I on Reddit? Am I the asshole? You know what I'm saying? Or am I just doing God's work? Because who am I to say that he didn't choose me to use this moment to educate someone else? I don't know. Because like sometimes I do feel like God has been like, you know what, daughter, it's your turn to educate. And I'd be like, hey, say less. I will run with it, right? That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like sometimes he does. Um, some people may not agree with that, but I don't care.
And I'm tired of doing that. God, I understand. As they say, God gives his strongest battles to his toughest soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
But look, I got the screws is loose already.
Look, I'd be like, who said I signed up to be a soldier though?
Look,
What if I was just trying to be like a peasant in the courtyard, is all I'm saying.
the soft life. I
Right.
mean,
What if I was just trying
I
to like
want the
sling an
sweet
apple or two, you know?
simpleness. But and I'm it becomes too common and too
Yeah.
commonplace.
Yeah.
And one of the things is, so I do not like to alter. I do not like to alter my clothes and stuff like that because it requires me to face my own body image issues.
Hmm.
And I just want to sew
I just want to sell.
sometimes. And I will make it, and it may not fit when I make it, but I know something's like, especially even with my gold suit.
Hmm.
Somebody mentioned how I needed to make these changes to it. And I'm
Hmm.
like,
Oh, I don't even want to hear. I can't even entertain that line of thinking.
this was in the early stages. This is when I was working on the pants. And I did not make the changes because I knew my body was changing.
Oh, this happened in your group, right?
It
I
did.
saw it. I
It
saw it.
did. It did. And but I had to make them early. And I knew like and they weren't finished. I
Hmm.
will fix them when it comes time. At the time of the event, technically they were too big.
Hmm.
So they went from tight in the hips to too big.
Hmm.
So like, and I knew that was the case because I
Right.
already knew, like I was tracking some stuff. So, and I just wanted to show that I was happy about the progress I was making, that my idea was going to work because I was worried about the fabric not working. You didn't ask all the questions. And
Yeah.
sometimes, even if it's not good, you can still say, hey, that's a great job if somebody is trying to do something.
It's
Perfection
funny
is not
because like
always
I
the
always tell my
goal.
kids to, like, even if they don't particularly like someone or they don't particularly love something, I'm like, find something that you can compliment. Like, intentionally look for the good. Like, look for the good. But yeah, like the notion that one, that other people are the experts on our bodies,
Look,
on how we would like clothing to fit our bodies, on how we would like to appear in our bodies is so far-fetched to me, right? Because I get that all the time. Like, I remember I was doing the Sew Your View challenge, the only time
mhm.
that I did it. Um, they don't often use size inclusive patterns but I always want to. And it was a McCall's pattern. And I remember posting in the McCall's pattern group on Facebook, they are mean. Do not post there. Okay.
Yes.
Savages. And I don't know if God has offered me enough blessings to bless everyone with what they need. But I remember people just commenting like, oh, well, next time you should do, first of all, pause. I didn't even say I was gonna make the pattern again, right? I was just simply sharing what this pattern that was not designed with my measurements in mind and how it fit on my measurements. I didn't ask.
Then ask, and then you did not ask them. You did not ask.
Because it's
them.
always the people who are wearing Steve Harvey suits or looking like a deaconess in church who always got something to say about what I have on. Or, oh, you could fit this, but that's not how I wanted it to fit. That's why it's not fitting that way. That's why. Or, oh, you shouldn't wear that because you have a fupa and you should wear minding your business. Yet here we are. Yeah, that's a big one. That is a big one.
It is. It is.
Let me actually just go on record and say this. I'm a little cranky this evening, so I might be combative. Obviously not towards
we both are.
Julian. Obviously, listen, when you're besties, your energy just naturally matches. I don't know what to tell y'all. Good luck getting through the episode. No, I'm just joking. It's going to be lots of fun, obviously. But
yeah.
No, I don't like that either. I don't like, so like the thing that I hate is that when people are like, well, you put it on Beyonce's internet, so you should be fully prepared for everything that comes along with it. Okay, so cool.
And when I give them this smoke, they need to be fully ready for it as well.
Baby, have the fire department ready. Make sure that your carbon monoxide detector is on because the smoke is going to come. Yeah. Yeah. No, Julian, same. Twinsies.
And as we're talking about grace and stuff like that, and you want me to provide them grace, and I provide a lot of people grace, but there's gonna come a time when Julian goes away and Juju comes out.
Oh, you mean Cordell?
No, it's Juju.
Oh, it's
Juju is even that's real. When you get to
Cordell is what's his name from Living Single.
But when Juju will that's not what you want. That's really
Julian
not what
said Juju on that beat will come out with the beat. Got it.
On that ass. How about that? So yeah. I mean, and again, and I love providing. I love being I don't call people out. I call people in and stuff like that. But there comes a time when even I can't do it for all the time. Yeah. And sometimes I don't want to be the influence. I just want to sow too.
Yeah. You know who my favorite is about doing this? And I already know you know who I'm about to say, but Terrence. Listen, Terrence be reading folks for filth.
I love
with a smile and a laugh.
Beloved.
And it's always my favorite thing. Not because I want to see people fail, but here's the thing. You don't get to be like a troll who hides behind a keyboard and a screen and then expect that there are no repercussions that come along with it. Like we're people too. We have feelings, right? And when you put that suit on, first of all, baby, I was like, somebody give me a biscuit so I could sop all of this up with, right? Because it was just oozing with fantasticness, oozing with excellence. I was like, yes, come on. Then you put the top knot in. I was like, the look is looking. So for someone to think that they should offer an opinion other than either you look amazing, how can I copy this? Or where did you get this fabric from? Or wow, you worked the hell about that fabric. Or that pattern was meant for you. Or goddamn, baby, you are wearing that suit. Right? I don't understand how anything else besides those things could have been said.
Because again, I did not make it for their gaze. And so if it's not made to their sensibilities.
That's the thing right there. Is most people are so self-centered that they expect for us to be doing these things specifically for them. Like, and speaking of our gripes, here is mine. When people are like, well, why don't you why don't people hashtag the patterns anymore? Like, I want to be able to search what it looks like. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't hashtag it because they're not paying me. They're not paying me, right? At no point in time have these companies come out and been like, hey, I would like for you to make my pattern. Here's some money. We would also like for you to promo the pattern. And here's more money for you to tag and use these specific things. Here's the creative brief, blah, 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 right? They don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like most of the time, they don't even offer affiliate links. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, so if you want me to make it easier for you to find, run me some coins so I can think longer about this. Otherwise, you're welcome for the show. You know what I'm saying? Like the notion that like I'm out here sewing to make it so that it's easier for someone else to find is out of this world. Truly a phenomenon, because I'm just like, the notion that people go through the world and think that everything is about them is so wild to me. Like Houseway, where?
But yet I don't know how we got here, because like this is just our society nowadays, and it blows.
But then the same people who are like, oh, why don't they tag their pattern numbers or their patterns that they use in the comments will be the same people be like, I don't understand why influencers get paid for what they do. Well, shit,
because it's work.
Reason. You just gave us the reason why.
Because y'all want to know not only the pattern, y'all want to know the fabric, where the fabric came from. You are then asking me to do the work to tell you.
You're doing the work. You're asking me to work for free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And don't get me started on all these BS Reddit threads that are talking about why is everybody all of a sudden an influencer? First of all, everybody is an influencer. Let's be real about it. Everyone is. If you read those Amazon reviews, welcome. You're an influencer. If you write the Amazon reviews, you are an influencer. If you write a review on Yelp, you are an influencer. If you share about a pattern or something on the internet, you are an influencer. Mm-hmm. If you happen to be walking down the street and somebody stops you and is like, oh my God, that skirt is so bad, where you get it from? And you're like, oh, I got it from H&M. You are an influencer.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm so tired of people expecting us to work for free and then being mad when we get paid. Like, I'm not volunteering.
And we are using our own intellectual property. Like, there is we're putting in work for these things, not only for ourselves.
Exactly.
But then when we do it for ourselves, you get mad because we don't share it.
Right.
So there's that. And my last gripe, because I can't dwell in it for too long.
We're sharing and moving on. We're dropping it like it's fire onto this here podcast, and then that's it. We're dwelling in positivity.
And we're going to create a safe, open space for y'all to drop them too, because we want to know what some of y'all's are.
Please tell us your gripes.
Oh, child.
But don't be like classist, because I definitely asked for people to do this, like in my DM, like in my Ask Me Anything, maybe 2 years ago, and they were like, someone was like, when people use a zigzag stitch to finish their garments, like, okay, sis, like they might not know about the twin needle trick, and they might not be able to afford a cover stitch. Like, come on, let's not be elitist.
Or they actually might just want to zigzag, because that's also fine too.
Or they might want to zigzag. Literally every time I zigzag and finish my hems that way, it lives rent free in my head. I'm like, oh well.
And you know what? You brought it right to where it is. I'm sorry, but because we don't skin cats around here, but there are so many different ways to make chicken. There are so many ways to crack an egg. There's so many ways to make a biscuit. Like, just because you have a way, don't mean it got to be my way.
Right.
Just because that's what your mama and your grandmama told you, then do that. Carry that legacy on for you.
Precisely.
But my mama taught me something else, and I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Or I just was like, yo, I just want to try something new, and this is where I ended up. Right.
And that's fine too.
And it's fine. It's fine.
I think we just now, again, there are certain things that I do get. I am anal about in my own ways. Pressing and certain things, yes, I get a little much for myself.
I mean, but I'm also like pressing. Where is my iron? JK, because I love it when we still iron.
Help me, Lord. Oh God. But I think that we gotta let people, there are so many reasons that people are leaving crafts and do not like to share and do not like to build community, because they're scared. of what's going to happen. And we deal with it every day.
Every day.
But so new people coming in, I want them to have a safe space that they can come to, especially like the way that we do on BSN. When new people come on, we gonna love on them. We're gonna give them gifts. We're gonna make sure that there are people in the comments and just there. We're gonna share it to make sure that if they decide to come on live, they will not be alone.
They will not be alone.
And we will make sure that it's a good experience for them.
Exactly.
And as we say, as Carmen says, don't embarrass me.
Don't embarrass me.
If they on live with one of us, like don't you do it. It's about building community. And I think that, sewing is already an isolating hobby. Usually you do it by yourself. Now that we have social media and we're trying to build community, why are we gatekeeping and why are we trying to this level of creating community where we have the opportunity to literally create the world we want to see? Mm-hmm. Literally, we are creating the color, the design, the style, and stuff like that we want to see. And this can be a unifying factor that we all like to sew. We like to put a creation into the world that it could be a garment, it could be a bag, it could be a quilt, it could be a plush toy item. It could be so many different things. Mm-hmm. And then you up here trying to if you don't do this and again, we are ambassadors for one brand, but there are some people who, if you don't just use this brand, no.
Right.
No. Use what works for you. Exactly. And it's all right.
Yes. And like you said, we are brand ambassadors. I just dropped a video on my YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go and check it out. And it's, 5 beginner sewing machine brands that I think work great for beginners. You know what I'm saying? Is the brand that I rep on there? Absolutely. And it might be number one, but it's not the only brand that's on there. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's important that we recognize, understand, and respect differences. And stop shaming people. Like, I've received so much shame regarding projector sewing. Granted, I don't hear it. Like, I see it come through. And I'll entertain it and engage with it for a second to boost my engagement, right? But at the end of the day, Julian, what am I about to do when I got to cut something? I'm about to turn that projector on
and go
whip out one of my 20 rotary cutters and get busy. And 15 minutes later, I'll have a garment.
Meanwhile, they still cut the pattern.
Right. Like, literally, Denver was making dinner. And I walked in and I was like, oh, let me just go ahead and make Aurora some leggings, because your girl loves to wear leggings and oversized sweatshirts. So why fight it, right? She got a big booty Judy. And literally, Kalima was in here doing her schoolwork. I cut the pattern out in no lie, 5 minutes. 10 minutes later, it was off my machine and I was calling her down to come try them on. Not him popping his head out the kitchen like, excuse me, how long did that take you to make? I said 15 minutes. He was like, so I don't understand why it is that you don't just go ahead and make all of her leggings. I said, I didn't say I wasn't going to do it, but she didn't say that's what she wanted. But I'm like, imagine if I had to go find my paper pattern, open it up, iron it, and flatten it out so it could be used, pin or clip it into place, or use my pattern weights. Also, shout out to Raven, who sells pattern weights, and smooth things out before finally cutting.
And let's not even talk about if you had lost the pattern and had to reprint it and retape it.
And then listen. But again, I can't even hear it because they're over here telling me about how unprofessional it is, but I've already made 3 garments. So I guess, you know what I'm saying?
And literally, we keep on seeing videos from all these different brands that are actually ready to wear brands. And this is what they're doing for mass market.
This is what they're doing for mass market.
And the last time I checked, they're trying to hold up to a standard of a paper pattern. Yes, paper pattern has been around technically, paper patterns have been around since 1790. Okay. But commercial paper patterns that we normally would see for home sewers came out in around the 1840s, 50s, 60s. You
better come on with the top fire knowledge.
With around Butterick.
You better try Jesus, not Julian.
I'm just saying, my hyperfixations, I like history sometimes. So around 1850s, 60s, with Butterick is usually where we saw that starting. But before that, of course, you were using measures and you were literally drawing it on fabric like a lot of tailor shop. And a lot of people will say, oh, I don't believe in even paper patterns or even like oak tag patterns because they will want to do it like fully drafting it directly on the fabric, which is great. You see it a lot in India and different parts of Asia. You see it a lot in Africa.
Yep.
Love it. I wish I could do it. That's not my ministry.
I don't.
And I rather do what works for me because I like to sew.
Right. We do it for the sheer enjoyment as well as function because, again, these kids and
right. I can wear my stuff and it's great, but also
exactly.
but this brings me joy.
Exactly.
And I will be damned if somebody takes that joy away from me.
Exactly.
So and this is partially why I don't sell. Like there's a level of protection that I have on sewing because it protects my peace.
Yeah.
And when you come for that, you come for me. And Julian kind of comes down and Juju comes up. We don't want Juju. I'm trying to save the world here. Leave Juju alone.
Leave Juju out of it.
People ain't hearing me.
Yeah. And that gets me into my final gripe. You know what I hate? When things in the world will be happening, right? Because of course, we're seeing what's happening in Palestine. And the second that we pause in our sewing content to show humanity, to give an opinion about something, it's, let's just keep this to being about sewing. Okay, pause. Because here's the thing, it is about sewing. We can relate everything to sewing. Why? Because people wear clothes. How are clothes made? Through sewing, right? But the notion that any kind of craft, right? Because we also see this in the crochet world, we see it in the knitting world, we see it in all of these microcosms of society. The notion that we can just forget about everything that is happening out in the world, or that we are only well-versed in sewing and not well-versed in anything else, so therefore we can't have an opinion on anything else, is out of this world. Out of this world.
But I think, let's be real about it, and we're going to have a real conversation. So, sensitive ears, bless y'all, we provide grace, but we're going to be real about it. You are listening to two Black people talk, okay? And we cannot go anywhere in this world and not be seen as Black first, usually.
Exactly.
So we understand how intersectional our lives and our identities lie. And to think that we can go into this world and forget about everything else is just not realistic because that's not what we know. Literally for generations, and it's in our DNA that we carry that with. Due to, we can take it all the way back to the definition of race, which was also around 1791 or so, like that, when the classification of white versus Black came out.
Listen, I swear to God, I have never learned more about a person that I've been learning on this podcast journey with you, Julian. Like,
I be knowing things, and then let's talk about that. As you're talking about, I only want you to talk about sewing. You are literally listening to people with multiple degrees right now.
How many degrees we got? A lot.
Multiple, yeah. So, and we are multifaceted people, and we don't just sew. Like, again, if y'all heard me, I work in philanthropy, I work around community power building, I work around equity, diversity, and inclusion daily. I help people through this. So we understand this world because we have to live in this. We have to navigate it. We have to navigate it from a professional perspective, from a personal perspective, for our families, for our friends. We and literally in navigating this world, just trying to be safe. So to not think of color and not think of those things, it's so microaggressive. And so like there's just this erasure to it that is just not, I can't abide by.
Yes.
Like that's not how we live our lives.
So here's
to
the other
ask us
thing.
to stick
We
to
don't have
one
the
thing
privilege. We don't have the privilege to do that.
Never. We have never had that privilege. And to ask us to do that literally are telling us that you don't want us to be ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
And if you don't want me to be me,
ugly.
I'm not for you.
Yeah.
And that's
like,
okay.
I always try to make sure that I'm very clear when people begin to associate with me, right? Because sometimes I think that I don't think that I'm light skinned. I feel like I'm brown skinned. You didn't have to look away that way, Julian, though. Okay.
No, I mean, that's what I thought, but whatever.
Thank you, kind sir. Okay. But for some reason, I look safe to people. I don't know if it's the curly hair. I don't know if it's my eyes that are bigger. I don't know if it's because I'm lighter than some. But I like to make sure that I'm very clear that one, I'm blackity black. Two, I am pro LGBTQIA plus. I don't care how you identify, as long as it's not racist, you're safe with me, right? That's, as long as you're not racist or a pedophile, we're probably good money. Like if you want to marry inside your own family, I don't care. I don't really care about what goes on in people's bedrooms. As long as you're not taking children in there, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like you're safe with me. But also I am not the safe black girl who people can like a key with and think that like I'm just gonna key back on some questionable shit.
No.
Like absolutely not. Because like you said, in every situation that I go into, in every single environment, I can't hide the fact that I'm black. I can't hide the fact that I'm a woman. I can't hide the fact that I'm plus size. I can't hide any of these things because these are my identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in truth, I can't hide even certain parts of my makeup, right? So I've shared this before, but I'm about 40% white, right? Which is, of course, why I can be perceived as having a lighter complexion. I can't hide that, right? I can't hide these things. I can't hide these things about myself, which means that as I go into these situations, I can't make pretend that they don't matter.
Right.
Because one, I'm blackity black. Two, I am a humanist. Yes, I do identify as a Christian, but I'm a Christian in the sense of like, what would Jesus actually do? Right? I'm not a Bible thumper, no shade to those who are, but like literally, I try to live my life in a way that I think that Jesus would have. Right. So if there is someone who needs help and I can help, that's what I'm doing. Doesn't matter. Right. Like if someone just needs someone to lean on temporarily, that's fine too. Right. Like my home, and I jokingly say this, that I'm a people collector. Right. And I'm a people collector because I make people feel safe. Right. If you don't have a home to go to for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for the holidays, people know that they're welcome in my home. Right. We have vegan dishes, we have pork-free dishes, we have meat dishes. We make sure that we can make sure that people who come over have something to eat and are nurtured. My kids nurture. My husband is loving, right? So when I go into these situations or when I have feelings about these things, it affects my sewing. It affects all of the spaces that I'm involved in because it's who I am as a person, you know? Yeah. But with that, let me ask you this, Julian.
Mm-hmm.
What are you working on?
Trying to keep my sanity.
Facts. Big facts. I love that for all of us.
So
Keep you at bay.
Look. So right now I am finishing up. So Black Sewing Network started our fall lineup of the Nomi patterns. So we've done mine's was on Sunday, and then there was Lydia's, Norris's, Ella's was tonight as well, and we're recording this on Tuesday. So we're working through all of the patterns. So I'm putting the zipper in mine to finish that up, and then because my size has changed a little bit. I need some stuff.
Slate flex.
So I am starting to like curate in my head what I want to create and who I want to be.
You know what? I'm really proud of you for losing this weight because that means you can absolutely send me that green jacket because it's not going to fit.
You in this green jacket.
I just don't understand why I've had to ask for this multiple times. You're not even the same size, Julian, and you already said yourself in this episode, you don't want to make alterations.
I don't.
So it's fine. Let me make sure you have my address.
And the problem is that you probably gonna campaign for this in the social media advertising for this, telling me that I need to send you this green jacket.
I am. I'm so happy that you already know that.
I know. And I mean,
I don't know. We should start a hashtag. It's fine. I'll think of it because you're not in support. It's fine.
Child of God.
Hashtag it Aaronica Green. I think it should work.
You know what? What?
Jesus. I do know what.
But anywho, so I am thinking of just remaking some pieces. What do I want to make? I got some fabric coming in because Fabric Mart was having a sale.
Oh, why didn't you tell me? Not that I needed it. It's fine. You shouldn't have told me. Thank you for looking out for my pockets.
I think I did though, but it's okay.
Okay.
And it was like an additional 13% off for Friday the 13th on their clearance area. And it has some wool suitings and stuff like that.
Julian, I don't even want to talk to you anymore.
Well, today they have like $3.99 on select knits.
Okay, let me see.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
gonna pull it up while I'm on this podcast, but I'm just gonna like make a note to myself.
I
Just
know.
you
Yeah.
know, just saying. Okay. Okay.
I might
Stay
have started a
focused.
cart. So like, just kind of like I have some fabrics coming, so I'm trying to plan it out.
Mhm.
Definitely providing more vintage. There are some high-waisted pants that I feel like I can better pull off the way I want to, including my own.
Mhm.
Me 2018. So, and I might have bought some pink tensile twill, like last sale twill that might
I
might
have
be
the
coming
pink
to
twill as
you.
well. I have it.
So
Julian, we have to plan a couple more live sew-alongs because we've got the pullover that we've got to do together.
we do. We do.
Which I honestly don't even know if it's going to fit in this week.
Probably
Um,
no.
so I really feel like that's going to be next week, to do
I
because
like
I have Halloween sewing to do.
you
I'm
do.
not making costumes. I don't make costumes.
I
I
love
don't.
it. I love it. I mean, yeah, no, we don't do that.
Yeah.
Not our ministries.
Mm-mm. Okay.
But what are you sewing? What are you working on?
Bo's wardrobe is just about finished up. I was gonna work on some sweatpants for him, but then we found that last year or towards the end of like winter last year, I had just bought him, or my mom had actually bought him a bunch of sweatpants.
Okay.
So crossing that off my list to do. But yeah, very happy about that. But now we have moved on to Kalima's wardrobe, and I'm gonna be starting that soon as well. So say a prayer for that because she's my teen. Um, and which means that of course comes with its own teen angst, right? Sis likes pink. She's not into leggings right now. She's into sweatpants, joggers,
Okay.
basically living in the 90s. Like we're giving 90s kind of world. I'm glad I got my girl. Keep your head up, yo. Keep your head up, yo,
That's
yo.
right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which also I immediately have throwback because to that show because Julian and I were like snuggled up in the bed watching Living Single in New York.
And
Y'all
we
can
went.
judge somebody else. When I tell you that Julian and I can vacation together at any point in time, because he definitely ran me through them streets in New York, but then we also had enough time to nap and like, get rejuvenated before we did it again.
Look, because I was gonna nap. There was gonna be
There was
highs and lows, but I needed some breaks.
yes. Of course, this weekend, literally the day after this airs, is Frock Tales Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all, I was really stressing about what to wear because we're doing Met Gala themed, et cetera, et cetera. And I really feel like I was getting in my head about this Met Gala theme. And I was like, oh, I should go big. But I also hate to make things that I will never wear again. Like, I like wearable things. I am a chronic rewearer. Like the amount of times that I've like worn though my pattern that I did the so long for what is it? Emmy 2028, which was my spring pattern. Like I have worn those like gingham pants so many times and will continue to wear them so
As
many
you
times.
as
Right.
mm-hmm.
So I'm wearing something that I've already made and just have never worn. And I'm going embroidered and I'm mixing textures. And so like my dress is going to be made out of an embroidered mesh. So we're giving see-through, we're giving sexy. And then I'm going to, because it's finally fall in Atlanta, so I'm going to be wearing an embroidered like duster out of black velvet over it. So we're doing embroidered with embroidered, and I'm putting on because I just recently became a Steve Madden brand ambassador. So I'm going to be wearing my first pair of shoes that they sent me along with it. So we're giving like grunge glam.
And grunge was actually a one of the themes for the Met Gala some years ago. So yeah, you're on theme.
Look it, I'm on it and didn't even know it.
You're on theme. Yep.
As Julian said in episode 1, I am the trendsetter.
Look. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just happy that you're not about to be sewing the day of travel or something like that for this event.
Julian, when I tell you that I can't do that level of stress again,
That was a lot. I know.
it was a lot like in my spirit. I was just like, this doesn't feel good at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I tell you my cortisol levels were spiking, my
Oh, I
poor
believe
adrenal glands were like, babe, like relax,
it.
calm down, stop firing,
Right. All the things.
all
Like
of the things.
we can't do this. We can't do this. And
And
that's
listen, and here's the truth of the matter is that I'm spoiled by my husband. And people are like, what do you mean? What do you mean? You don't pack before you go on trips. I don't pack myself. Like I'm spoiled to the point where my husband will just be like, can you just pull out the things that you're thinking about packing? And I'll be like, okay. And then everything is taken care of. The bags are in the car. It's time to go. He was at work and I'm just like, what is life? Why would he desert me like this? Why isn't he here with me to help me? But your girl is spoiled and I'm okay with that. I'm fine.
yes, and it is fine. But
Yes.
but you're ready, and that's all that matters. You're
That is
ready.
all that matters. I this weekend though, I'm a brand ambassador for those that don't know, I walked out of corporate America to pursue being an influencer full time. But bloggers were the original influencers. So I walked out to become a blogger and I specialized in parenting as well as sustainability. And I'm still a brand ambassador, even though I don't have babies anymore. I'm still a brand ambassador for Ergo Baby, which is my favorite baby carrier company. So I will be fitting new parents for their Ergo babies at a baby show here in Atlanta, literally all day. And I'm leading the show. So I'm there all day before I head. So like when I tell you that when I leave there, I'm gonna be like popping some kind of caffeine, possibly 2 caffeinated drinks, to make it through the rest of the day. So we're just saying a prayer about that. Saying a prayer about that. Um,
So you have that, and I have to teach. So I was at the original Sewing and Quilt Expo
I
last
saw.
so on Thursday and Friday, and then I took your class, and I had to get some extenders for my mount for my projector, so that should come
Okay.
tomorrow.
Yes.
Um, and then I took Carmen's website class, which I've
Mhm.
learned a lot. So I have homework that I'm trying to finish up for that.
Okay.
Um, and now this weekend I'm teaching a serger quilting class at my dealer, so Kramer Sewing back here in Cincinnati, Ohio.
I'm
So
so proud of you. I love hearing about all these things that you do.
we trying. So we do well. No, we're not trying. We doing.
We're
We're
doing.
doing.
It's funny. I just said to Kalima on our way home, I was like, you know what? I think we need to get together and put together a new vision board, but I want to call it our manifesting board so that we can be actively manifesting the things that are on or these representatives of things that we would like to manifest so that we can be that much more focused. I had a moment with her because when I picked her up from school, she was having a hard day, which is probably why she was like stalking me in my office.
Mm.
Um, so she was having a hard day and I was able to coach her through it. And one of the things that I take very seriously in parenting is in not being the type of parent where I don't share my own experiences, right? Because like I feel like in parenting now, I'm just like not prepared for a lot of the things that I'm navigating simply because no one told me about it, right? Like no one talked about how hard parenting was. No one talked about how um, you know, if a year's worth of taxes never got filed and it was mad long ago. And so you're over here like, what do I do?
Right.
Um, so I did talk to her about some of the things that I was navigating and how this year felt like kind of a bust for me and how instead of focusing on all of the things that I haven't done, that I need to focus on all of the things that I have accomplished. And I was like, and I think that you need to do that too, because like we get so caught up in all of the things that we haven't done that we forget to give ourselves credit for all of the things that we have done, all of the growth that has happened through all of the hard times. So we had that conversation today, which I was really excited about because like I think my kids are really dope, very proud of them, but also really proud of myself as a parent. And I do
As you
hope
should
that
be.
they see the things that I do with my friends, like Aurora was asking about Uncle Julian today. She was checking in on Uncle Julian. She was like, Mommy, how is Uncle Julian feeling? And I was like, he's okay. You know, his heart is back to being almost happy. But I like that I'm raising children that are this way. You know what I'm saying? And even like Terrence in his stories today was talking about how boys need to be raised able to emote and to talk about their feelings. And I love how Bo is being raised to emote. He's very expressive with his emotions. He has these conversations, and I'm proud of him. But I'm also really proud of like my husband and I for like putting in the work, not just in them, but putting in the work into ourselves so that we can show up for them in this way, you know, or even, you know, and we aren't perfect because like we blow up at our kids, but we apologize very quickly and we take accountability for our actions and for the impact of them on the kids. So I'm really proud about that, you know?
I love it. I love it. I love it. And like I said, you should be proud of the kids that you've raised because you know they're some sweethearts. Even if they get on your nerves, and they sleep like
on my nerves and
they sleep like grown construction workers.
Because like, what are they doing to make them so tired?
I mean, it's splayed out in the car.
Laid out today. No one took a nap on the way home. So
surprised. I know. Because I mean, but also I remember being a kid and naps were needed.
Naps
were needed.
I mean, as an adult, they're needed. So
I take them daily if I can.
I know that's right. All right, friends, this has been another really great episode. Our question of the week, of course, is what is your gripe in the sewing community? What is your ick? Make sure that you let us know so that way we can go ahead and respond, share, and talk about it in our next episode. And also make sure that you're dropping who you want to see as guests on the show. We are getting ready to begin to schedule out guests, and this is very, very exciting because honestly, Julian, I'm really proud of us and where our podcast is going. This feels like a safe space, and it's like a feel-good place on the internet.
It is, and that's what we want to continue to be. Just as we're building community in the sewing community, and we building the clothes that we want to have on our bodies, we also are building the community that we want to see in the world. So, y'all, until next time, I want y'all to continue to create. Tell us your gripes, but then let it go. So,
and then let it go, y'all. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Audacity Podcast.
We hope you enjoyed this audacious journey with us. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
And don't forget to join our creative community on Instagram at the Audacity and keep this conversation going.
If you got burning questions, audacious stories, or hot topics you want us to dive into, reach out to us on social media or at hello@theaudacity.com.
Thanks for stitching with us today. Until next time, keep those audacious dreams alive and your stitches even tighter.
Take care and stay creative.